I'm Mandy and this is my channel Make It Sew. So I'm back again for a chat makes and plans video, and it's been another 2 weeks because I have been so busy with lots of sewing things, so it's not all bad, but obviously I ran out of time to do a video last week, and I'll let you into a little bit of secret behind the scenes. My last 45-minute video that I did, which I apologise was so long, but it was a month of catching up, it took me nearly 2 days between filming, having lots of camera issues, and then editing. So it did put me off a bit last week because I didn't think I'd have long enough to film if my camera played up. So fingers crossed for this one today that it won't suddenly get too hot for me to film, and then I have to let it cool down, put it in the naughty corner for a bit, and then come back and carry on, because I'd like to get this out to you today if possible. And today is Tuesday, and it is, I'm trying to think what the date is, the 21st of October. I've lost a day already because I have been so busy, but welcome back if you've seen me before, and if you're new here, thank you for joining me. I have had another little flurry of subscribers recently, thanks to Judi from Running So and So giving me a little shout out, and I met one of my new viewers on Saturday at Fizz. So what have I been up to? Well, I got back to Walpole, which was great. I had a manic weekend really because I had 3 sewing socials to go to, which was great for me but very tiring. So I went to Walpole, which is about an hour's journey away from me, on the Friday, and then I went to Norwich Sewcials on the Saturday, and then went to a wedding evening that night, and then my husband kindly drove me up to Lincoln so I could go to the Scothern social, and it was lovely to see everybody there. So I managed to sew up quite a few things over that weekend, not as much as I intended. I always take more than I think I'm going to sew, but probably I take it thinking I'm going to finish it all, but you never do. And I had a lovely time there. All 3 were absolutely amazing. I managed to resist fabric at the Norwich Sewcials because they have a massive swaps table there, and they also have patterns you can pick up. There's lots of things, so I felt I was very well behaved and I resisted it all. I will be putting some photos in as I talk, so you'll see the lovely cake that we had. I'm not sure if it's Emma, who is Crafty Clyde, that's the chef, or whether it's Pippa that does the cooking, but it was very nice and very enjoyable with a cup of tea after doing sewing for most of the day. And at Scothern I did pick up 1 bit of fabric off the swaps table, and I will show you that in a little while. So after that I was at work during the week and obviously recovering from a very busy weekend, but I didn't have long to recover because on the Thursday I was going to be travelling down to meet my lovely friend Claire, and we were going to the Knit and Stitch show. So originally I was only going to be going there with her on the Thursday, and I was doing the catwalk with Stash Hub. But because I was doing the catwalk, we were given some free tickets to use up. So I then booked us some tickets for Friday so that we could spend 2 days there and not feel like we had to rush everything just to get it all in one day, because it is quite hard to do that when there's so much going on. So the Knit and Stitch show was lovely. I'll put some footage here showing you our little bus journey from the train station up the hill to Alexandra Palace in London, and I also got to meet a couple of lovely people there as well, including Lynn. Again, we managed to bash into each other last year, and I said to her this is probably going to be our yearly meet-up now because we always see each other. And I did see some other lovely viewers as well, but unfortunately I forgot to ask what your name was and my memory isn't great. So it was really lovely to meet you. So on the first day I only picked up 1 fabric, but on the Friday, as you'll see in a minute, that soon changed. So I did the catwalk, and I'm going to insert a little bit of footage here so you can see exactly what I got up to. So that was really enjoyable. It was so lovely to meet everyone else who was doing the catwalk with Yvette, and obviously it was lovely to see Yvette too, and I got to talk to a few of them, and that was really nice to meet some other people who love sewing. So it was a very busy 2 days, but very enjoyable, and obviously I didn't come away empty-handed, as you'll see. So after that I had another week of rest in between working, etc. But then I attended the charity sewing group where I was finishing up my outfit for Sophisticated, and you'll be aware from Instagram and probably YouTube that Sophisticated happened on Saturday, so that would have been the 18th of October. And then there was also the Sophie's Challenge on Sunday the 19th of October. So I went down to Claire's again, picked her up. I left my car at hers and she drove the rest of the journey to give me a break, which was really, really good of her. And we booked an Airbnb with the lovely Lucy, the sewing gardener, and Sam from So Let's Sparkle with Sam. And it was a lovely 4-bedroom property that we could all have plenty of room, and it was just a really nice place to stay, and it wasn't too far from Woking town centre where the lighthouse is, where Sophisticated was being held. So we all met up there on the Friday late afternoon and then went out for a really nice meal in the evening, and it was just really nice to spend some quality time with them all. So it was a really nice weekend, and I will just put another little bit of footage here for you so you can see where we stayed. In the door, there's Claire. This is a parlour with views of the grounds. It's next to a conference centre, so we think it's obviously set up for professionals. I'm not sure we're classed as professionals. We've got this big table in here and telly. Little table. What's in here? Oh, this is the kitchen. Bit dark in here because all the lights are off and it's getting dark at night. So that's a nice sized kitchen. What else we got? Anything exciting, Claire? Oh, that's my toilet. And this must be a bedroom. Yep, there's my bedroom. So that's quite nice. It's downstairs, just in case I get up early. And then, if I go up the stairs, let's see what we got up here, shall we? It's a 4-bedroom house. What are they like? Nice Rosamira. It's a nice, oh look at that, that's pretty. Feels like a quick whistle stop tour, but it's getting dark. And then we've got Benjamin. Hello Claire. Hope the ladies don't mind us looking. But I asked the host to put all the twin beds together. Nice view. Very nice. Maybe a little toilet. And then one more down here. You casing them all. Blanche Gibbs. You'll have to fight over which ones you want, won't you? Hello. And that's it. So on the Saturday morning we went out for a really nice breakfast, and then we got ready for Sophisticated, which started at 2 p.m. and was going on for 3 hours till 5 p.m. And I failed miserably at filming anything. I literally took 2 selfies, which I'm going to put here, one of me with Claire and one of me with Lucy, and we did have a group picture of the 4 of us at the actual accommodation, so I can put that here too. But it was just so busy and there was so much going on, the same as the Knit and Stitch show. I didn't vlog that either. which I intended to do, because it was a bit busy, especially on the Friday. It was so busy, I would have been getting too many people in the filming, so that's why I didn't do any of that. But Sophie's was brilliant. So we had an afternoon tea with lots of things on offer. Then we had a raffle, a catwalk, and to be honest, we probably could have done with a bit more time just so we could mingle. I got to speak to the lovely Sam Sequin Girly and the ladies from the Southern Social I go to, and I got to speak to Judi, said hello to Andrea from Beyond the Pink Door, and there was a few other people, and then that's it. I just ran out of time. So if you were there and I didn't say hello, I'm really sorry, but it was so nice to see everybody looking all dressed up in their new makes. So I really enjoyed that event, and I'm hoping to go again next year. So then the challenge was on the Sunday, and I entered that, and I actually won a prize. So I won a PDF from Helen's Closet, but I've got till April to use it, and I'm going to keep it because I haven't announced it yet, but I'm hoping to join the Last Sew is Standing, because I have been looking at my fabric stash and it's getting a bit out of hand now. So from February I will not be buying anything myself. If someone wants to buy it for me, like my husband or somebody, then they're quite welcome to, but I won't be buying any patterns or fabrics from February for hopefully the whole 12 months of that challenge. So we'll see. And then last night I finally got to attend a virtual sewing room again, and it was really lovely to see everybody, because I'd met Jenny at the Sophie's, I'd seen Marie at Sophie's, I'd seen Philippa, so it was really nice to meet them in person, but then also to see him on a virtual again, because I haven't been for so long. So it's just been busy, busy, busy. So what have I made, you might ask? Well, the first thing was for the challenge of Sew Phoenix, which was run by Sam Sparkle with Sam, Catherine from Sewverton Makery and Rachel French Seams, and the reveal date was the 30th of September, and that's when I last filmed my vlog, so I'm sure you haven't seen this one. But what I made was a simple sew ruby dress, and this was a pattern I'd got in a magazine and made it a long time ago with a duvet cover, which I'll put a picture up here, and then I decided to make this one, and it's like a brushed cotton fabric. The only thing is I didn't have anything else wide enough, but I'm glad I used this because it is really seasonal appropriate now. So I will put some pictures of it on Doris for you, but hopefully I'll be able to model it so you can see it on me as well, and I can put nice things like long sleeve tops underneath it. So I added 2.5 inches onto the bodice and 2 inches to the skirt, because the original one was too short. So I'm really pleased with this. I'm pleased with the length, and the only thing I'm not pleased with is the fact that I managed to pattern match quite a lot of the checks, but for some reason, I think it's because I did it where I cut the two out at the same time, the backs don't match quite, and that is going to annoy me, but I can wear it. It's wearable, but you might see that at some point I decide to unpick it, and if I've got enough fabric I will be correcting that. But I also think the invisible zip went in really nicely, but it could have done with maybe coming up just slightly higher. But they're my only two things that I didn't like about this dress. Everything else went really well, and I'm really chuffed with the garment. Just next time I need to plan it a bit better so I don't reveal it so late, because that was very late to show it. I love the circle skirt on it as well. It was really swooshy, so hopefully you'll be able to see a little clip of me swooshing in it. So that was my first make. Then my second make was when I went to Norwich Sewcials, and I had been promising my daughter these pyjama bottoms because she loves pyjama bottoms. I'd just made some Ellie and Mac woven pyjamas, or the bottoms in a brushed cotton. It was like a plaid that I'd got from America, and this material also come from America, and it was from Michael's. So it's this one, which is Harry Potter the Marauders map. So I made these for her. I actually managed to make the whole thing at Norwich Sewcials, which I was chuffed about, and then I put a little label in it which was from Cozy Club Handmade last year. I I think she's still got them, but it says sweeter than pumpkin pie, and then on the other side it says stay cozy. My daughter absolutely loved these. She's already worn them a few times, so I had to quickly grab them off her again before she wears them so I could show you. So they're very long length because she's taller than me, and they've got the pockets, of course, which they need. I love pockets, so I managed to make those in that day. And I also started on my catwalk outfit. Now I've actually got a really good clip of me wearing this, so I don't need to take photos separately. So as you'll see from that, I used my batik fabric, and this was what we classed as a mystery fabric, because when I was going through my whips, I am getting back to doing my whips of the week because it's that time of year when I've got quite a few that are seasonally appropriate to finish. I found this, and I didn't even log this fabric on Stash Hub, so it was a nice surprise when I found it. But the only thing was, it was very, very narrow, and I thought I'd like to make a Lyra dress out of it, but unfortunately the long version that I've been making so far I couldn't do because there just wasn't enough fabric. So what I did was, I always increase the bodice by 2 inches. Most of Tilly's patterns I have to do that, but I used just the middle panel, which you do for the short length, but I added 3 inches onto the end so that it was still quite a decent length for me without feeling too exposed. And it went, I think it was perfect length, so I'm happy because I managed to get that out of 3 meters. Now I didn't put a label in this one, I forgot, but I had some plain teal buttons that I put on, which I thought were perfect for that one because it's such a busy fabric. I made the tie as usual, and I was carrying on making this at Scothern, and when I was using my loop turners to do this, they got totally stuck because it is such a long bit of tie. So you have to sort of like gradually feed it but pull it off the other end so that you've got the gap, so that when you're turning it back in you haven't got all this bulk of fabric. So once I realised that, it went through okay, but I had to unpick it because it got very stuck the first time. So I'm really happy with this make, and I love this batik so much so that you'll see in a minute what else I bought that's batik, because I've made another one since then. So the other thing I made was what I'm wearing, which is some more Derwent trousers, and they're in a lovely dark bottle green ponte I purchased from Roy's Material World, probably at the Knit and Stitch last year, not this year, and it's really comfortable again. They are the most comfortable trousers I've ever owned, so I will put a picture up of me wearing them with this top, which is the Yvette top by Itch to Stitch. I had to look which one it was because I had made it last year, but the fire wet fabric I thought was great for this time of year, and this was from Beyond the Pink Door. So after that I made one more thing, and that was my outfit for Sew Fizz. So we had a challenge where you just had to make something, whether it be a garment, a bag or an accessory that you would take to an afternoon tea party. And the original one I might have shown you was using this fabric, which is an Alice in Wonderland Itty fabric, or ITY fabric, from Night and Fabrics, because I thought, bearing in mind it's Alice in Wonderland and it's got cups of tea and things on it, that would be really great for the Sew Fizz. Unfortunately, it was I think it was Tuesday and the Sew Fizz was on Friday. I had to order some more Maraflex because I'd run out, and I'd been using my overlocker for most of it, but that you can't use it where the pocket bits are. So I ordered some more, but it didn't come in time. It wouldn't have given me enough time to finish it. So instead of finishing that one, which is now really a whip, which was the Itch to Stitch and trim dress, I then decided to cut out another dress, as you do. And this is batik I bought, and it is one of the things I bought from the Knit and Stitch show. It was from Fabric Chicks. Excuse me, my belt's just dropped down. I'll get that off the floor. And it's this gorgeous batik in this colour. It's got all these different purples on it, and when I went past there I was wearing my Lyra the day before, and I really thought it'd be nice to make another Lyra in a batik fabric, and when I saw they were selling 4 meters for £20, it just had to be, really, and it was one of my last purchases of the day on the Friday. So I can show you obviously this in detail. Again, I added 2 inches to the bodice, and I cheat a bit with my buttonhole placing. Because I've made some other Lyras, what I do is I pin the placket of the Lyra that I've made, and then with the buttonholes I mark on this placket where they needed to be, because I know it works, so I don't need to measure it out. I just go through the existing buttonholes and then I know exactly where my buttons need to be. So that was a little tip. I don't know if it's a good one. It saves a lot of time, and why not when you're in a rush? That did help me. So the label is from Little Rosy Cheeks, and the buttons are from Jazz and Wow. So again, I made the tie and I did the long length with this one. So I will put some pictures in here of me wearing it, and this won me the prize for Sew Fizz, which was great. But I felt more comfortable in this than I think I would have been in the Antrim dress I was making, because it was white. I would have probably had to wear something underneath because it wasn't very it was quite see-through, I thought. And this is just something that I feel comfortable in on a day-to-day basis. So I definitely think it was right, although I didn't finish it till Friday morning, and I was travelling at 11 to get to Clare's. So I did leave it till the last minute again, but I'm glad it was worth it, this one. So I'm glad I did get to finish it and wear it to Sew Fizz. So that is my makes. My upcycle dress is in progress. I decided to make a dress, but I can't tell you which one yet. So that is hanging up on Doris at the moment, out of sight. And then I'm going to crack on with the trousers for my daughter. So I will show you now what's coming to my sewing room in the last 2 weeks. Well, the first thing is the fabric I picked up from Scothern Sewcial, and it is like a suiting fabric, and it's this lovely stripy one, and I just thought some of those colours are very autumnal, and I thought that might make a nice blouse. I've got 2 meters of it, but it is very narrow and it's quite light, so it would have made a really lovely pair of trousers for warmer weather, but I don't think I've quite got enough to make trousers, so I'm going to make a shirt. I might do a long sleeved Donny shirt. I thought that might be a nice one to try, or a patina, because you'll probably know I do love both those patterns quite a bit. And then the knit and stitch show, the purchases. This was the thing I bought the first day, so Claire and myself had made ourselves a list, because I like to try and stick to things rather than go off on a tangent and see something else I like. So on Thursday, that plan worked. We're not going to talk about Friday yet. But I bought this cord. I really wanted to make another skirt out of cord. Maybe the Sew Over It Xanthi skirt again, because I've only got one of those. But I got this, again, it's a bottle green. I do love that colour. And it's a fine needle cord, and I got that from Roy's Material World. So I bought 2.5 meters of that one, I believe, because I don't need much more, and it's already been washed, so it's ready to go. And that was all I bought on the first day. I did buy some sensible things. I bought some needles from Quilted Bear, because their Microtex needles are really reasonably priced. So I got some Microtex, some Jersey, and just some universal needles, because I do get through them quite a bit with all the sewing I do. And that was it on the first day. So Friday, yeah, I bought a few more things. Obviously the batik I just showed you, which I have got a little sample left of that one. So I absolutely loved that, and the fact it was 4 meters for £20 was really great. Again, it was narrow because it's batik, but I had more than enough. And this is actually, because I'd made the shorter version using the longer part of skirt, I'd left it like that, so when I went to make the long version I forgot to fold it back under, and when I put the bottom ruffle on, just as I was going to do it, I realised it was too long, so I had to cut 7 inches off. So I've got a little scrap of that to use on something. Then I went to Roy's again and I bought some fabric, and I did have an intention of making some placemats for the Christmas table. Now I know it is 2 months away, but I have to plan ahead, and if you were here you could actually smell that I'm cooking the Christmas cake at the moment, and it smells really nice. But I like to do it in advance because I've got a busy November as well, and I really don't want to be running out of time. But I thought I'd buy this and make some placemats. The only thing was, all my other stuff I have is red, green, gold, silver, so it would mean having to change everything on my table. But I bought it anyway, and I will be using it for something because it's not that Christmassy. I could actually get away with using it anytime, so I thought it might be a nice lining for a bag. So I got a metre of that one. And then also from Roy's, he'd been trying to not persuade me, that's the wrong word, he'd been showing us his selection of brushed cotton, and I'd seen something that I really liked, but I was like, no, I'm not going to buy it today. If it's still here tomorrow and I really want to get it, I'll buy it then. And that's what I did, and he didn't have much left, so I'm glad I got it. But it's this lovely brushed cotton, and it was a reasonable price. If I remember, it was £10 a metre. So I bought 3 meters with the thought of making another shacket, but I've got to finish my first one, which is one of my whips that I'm hoping to do in the next couple of weeks. But I just think that is really nice. It's got some gorgeous colours in it. And as you'll know, I do like these colours, so I had to get it really. So that was from Roy's. Then I went on to, I think it was David Wells. I've got his card actually, so you can see, fabric by David Wells. And I bought some cord. I've always wanted to buy a pattern cord. I've had that other one that I made a Xanthi skirt with, but other than that it's always been plain cords because there's not been anything that I've really liked. And then I saw this one. I think that is really lovely. It is quite narrow again, so I've bought 4 meters because I would like to make either a pinafore or some more dungarees. I'm not quite sure how much I've got yet, but there's my 2 options, and I just thought that would look great with this sort of purple colour underneath as a long sleeve top, so I've got to find something that will match it. But I just really love that one, so it had to come home with me really. And then I went to a stall called Dots and Stripes, and they have some really lovely jersey. It feels so good quality, and they had a remnant bin, and I managed to get this striped jersey, which I'm hoping isn't make the camera go mad because it is for me. It's about 1.5 meters, I believe, so I thought that would be nice for a long sleeve top. Not sure it would go great with the pinafore or the dungarees, but that would be nice as a layer piece, I thought. So I bought that. And then the last bit, so I didn't go totally mad, was for these placemats I've been talking about, because Emma from Emma's Sewing Space had shown some on her channel, and I'd also seen her making them at the Scothern Sewcial. So I thought that's a great idea, why haven't I ever done that? So I found something else, and I think this was Lily Fabrics I got this from. I only bought 1 meter again, but it's quite wide, so I think we'll be okay with that. But it's this one, and it's 3D Christmas trees, and I think that's absolutely gorgeous. It is just over 1 meter actually, because when I asked for 1 meter, there was another lady that saw me holding this and she was like, I love that. And I said, you can have whatever's left. But unfortunately, there was literally about that much left from 1 meter. So the lady just gave it all to me, and I had to apologise to the other one because it was the last piece. So I'm really chuffed I got it, because that will make some really nice placemats. So that was my fabric purchases. And then I did manage to find a few other little bits. So the first store I went to visit was because Mel Keane was on there and I wanted to go and say hello, and that was the Jen Hogg and Little Rosy Cheeks store. So every time I go to the shows, I've always wanted to get one of these, and I seem to forget every time. My head just gets distracted by something else and I forget. And I've always wanted one. And it's one of these from Generates, which is the machine needle holder. And there's a little QR code on the back. It gives you some inspiration on how to do it. But I'm thinking of doing this as a pin cushion. Not quite sure yet, but that is something I'd like to get done quite quickly so it doesn't get hidden away and then I forget about it. And then I got some labels, which I'm going to put a little picture up because I won't be able to show you them clearly otherwise, but they're sewing themed and I thought they might be quite nice for when I finally get round to doing my Adam Sews caddy, which could be next month because I'll be able to see Adam and ask him some advice then, so that would be nice. I also got some more of the wash away quilters tape. I know you can get normal quilters tape, but this one washes away and it's great for zips and things just in case you do need to wash the garment or the bag. So that was only £4. That's a lot cheaper than the last one I got. It's made by Siesta Frames. That was the store, Siesta Frames, so I might have to look and see if they've got any more on their website. And then I came across this, and this has been something that's actually been on my list forever. Even Claire said, you've had that on your list for a long while, and I never did find one. And then who was I talking to? I'm trying to think, it might have been Alison from my Walpole group because I saw her there, or I can't remember now, I'm sure it was. And I said to her about I was looking for one when she mentioned it. And there was a store called Beyond Measure, which is Shop Beyond Measure, so I'll put the card there. And they have these seam rippers that have a wooden handle, but you can replace the actual tops that you use to unpick. And it came in this lovely little bag, and it's got a cover on the actual seam ripper. But look at that, and it is sharp. I can actually vouch for that because I've managed to spike myself. And then what you do is you unscrew this little gold bit here and just take it out. So what I did was, as well as buying this one, I bought a couple of replacement blades as well, because then hopefully that will last me a lot longer. I've got about 5 unpickers and none of them seem sharp enough for the job. So if I can open this, this is the little tin it came in, and then you've got, I bought 2, they were £2.50 each for the tops, so I've got spares as well. So I thought that was a good investment because I definitely do use my seam ripper a lot. And the only other thing I got from the show was a Prima magazine, and that they were giving them away free. I know the VIP bags had them, but I sat down and watched a talk they were giving and we had a free Prima magazine there too. I'd heard it on the tannoy and I said to Claire I could do with a sit down, should we go and have a look? And it was quite interesting actually, so I did enjoy that. So after the show, that was it for the knit and stitch show. But of course I then went to Sew Fizz. So before I show you that, a couple of other things that came into my sewing room was my next issue of Love Embroidery. Have I done the free pack from the last one? No, but I've got another one, and I quite like this because it only has 3 stitches on it, and it's a printed canvas. So you actually just, this is printed here on the canvas, and then the rest is just your stitches. So I think that would be a very quick project that even I could manage to do this year. And also the lovely Adam, I said to him that I hadn't managed to find any interfacing at the Knit and Stitch show because I'd looked everywhere and there was some pre-packed stuff, but I wasn't keen on getting it like that. I wanted to feel it. So I bought 5 meters from him, and I put a little post on Instagram yesterday because I got some really nice stickers with it. Because he went to Sew Fizz, I said to him, can he give it to me then rather than posting, to save him some money. So I got it yesterday with the stickers as well. I have actually got one, I don't know if you'll be able to see it in the distance, on my Bernina just there. So I really love them. Then on Instagram, gosh, I've got so much, haven't I? On Instagram, Gaynor from the Sewing Bee put up that she had found an attachment for her button foot for, I think she's got a Janome, and it was called a feeding aid. And I looked at it, and what it is, it's a fabric feeding aid for sewing buttonholes. You know, when you get things like the collar, I had fun with my Lyra actually, where I was trying to do the buttonhole just below it, but my buttonhole foot was getting caught here at the back, and it just kept going and going and going. And I had that issue with the Connie Casual Shackets as well for my daughter on the cuffs, and one of them is bigger than the other because I was literally forcing it through. So anyway, I saw they do one for the Benina, so I got it. It was £45, but I had just sold my mini Benina that I'd bought recently, as I decided I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would, and I still have my bonnet, so I've kept my bonnet. But this is what they're called, fabric feeding aid for sewing buttonholes, and it's literally 2 bits of metal that fit into each other. So you have your top bit where the buttonhole foot goes into, and then you have this bottom bit, and the idea is to put your fabric, once you put your buttonhole foot on, you put your fabric in here, and then this goes underneath, trapping the fabric, and it forces bulky fabric through. And I've used it already on the second Lyra I did with the collar, and it was great. So I'm really chuffed I bought that, and I thought you might like to see that. If you want to see it in action, I'm more than happy to do a little video for it. So Fizz. So when we went to the Airbnb, Sam from So Let's Sparkle with Sam bought us all a little gift, and I absolutely love this. It's very, very seasonal appropriate. It says Boo on it, and inside are some sweet treats and a face mask, which is really lovely. So thank you, Sam. And she also knew I was looking for quilter's tape, so she got me some quilter's tape, and I've got one of her face wipe patterns, which I love, and I made a few of those for presents last year. And then she also got me this really lovely cotton, and it's got giraffes on it, which I love. So they're rainbow giraffes. It's Crafty Corner, or Crafty Cotton by Crafty, I can't read anymore, but it's really nice. So I've got to think what I'm going to use that for, because I love the fabric. Thank you so much, Sam. And then the final thing I got was my Surrey Sews goodie bag. So I won't show you everything in here because there's loads of stuff, but we got loads and loads of discounts. We did have a pack of proper chips, and we also got some other bits and bobs. So I'm just going to show a couple of bits. I got this lovely fat quarter with these plants on. My daughter loves succulents, so I might have to make her something with that. And we got some rick-rack and some purple stitches zips. This is very bright, so you won't miss me with this one. But there was loads of bits in here. I've got poppers and all sorts. So that was a really lovely goodie bag. It's a bit crumpled because it's been in my case. And then I won the raffle, and I got the last one that was pulled out, and I won this Tropic kit, and it's all lip balms. So that is really lovely. So that was a lot of things that have come into my sewing room that I now need to find a home for. So I'm really pleased with everything I bought from the shows and from the interfacing from Adam, and some lovely gifts too. So that's everything that's come into the sewing room. You've seen my makes. So what am I planning to do in the next couple of weeks? I'm really hoping to get a video out to you next week. Now I haven't got anything going on at the weekend, it gives me a bit more time to sort myself out and hopefully get some more things made up, and obviously finish my sew up cycle, because I've got till the end of month for that. I'm also hoping, not imminent plans, but I've just got my husband to get this out of my loft because it was too thick to store down here. I had this lovely fabric when I got the Sew Confidence capsule collection in autumn winter of 23, and I really want to make a coat with it. The pattern that we were given was the Style Arc Parker coat, and while I like the V-shaped part here, it's not actually folded over, that's how it sits, and I just didn't like that style. So at one of the shows I bought the Tessuti Oslo coat, so this is destined for that, and I never got to do it last year, so I've got it out ready, and I really want to try and make this coat this year, so that would be something on my plans. I also want to make the trousers for the sew up cycle for my daughter, so we're going to be fitting her later, and then hopefully I will get a whip done as well, so I will have some bits to show you next week, but no fabric, I'm afraid. So just to say, don't forget that if you're in the UK that the clocks go back on Sunday, which is the, let's think, which is the 26th of October, so don't forget, because you get an extra hour in bed, and I'm actually not working a night shift this year, I'm working during the day, so that's good, I don't have to do the 13 hours. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and please comment below. I love hearing from you all. Thank you for supporting this channel, and if you can find some time to sew this week, make it so. Bye.